Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm going to be discussing the rumored fifth plane that people speculate was supposed to be involved in the September 11th attacks, along with potential backup cells at the airports in which the hijackers flew out of. We know that there were a total of 19 terrorists operating within 4 different groups, but there has long been speculated of possibly more. I will note that there is no official confirmation from the 9/11 Commission that a fifth plane was part of the hijacking plot, but the most notable potential fifth plane would have been United Airlines Flight 23, which was initially scheduled to depart from JFK Airport at 8:30 a.m. on its way to Los Angeles. It was a Boeing 767, the exact same model as the World Trade Center impacting planes, and it had a similar flight of being a cross-country East Coast to West Coast. The flight went through a typical pre-boarding boarding process at around 7:30 a.m. Just after 8:10, the plane started its initial pushback, which was slightly behind schedule. Due to heavy congestion at JFK in the morning, with delays across the country, planes were stuck, and this plane in particular was stuck in the waiting queue on the tarmac from 8:15 a.m. to 9 a.m. We know Flight 11 hit the North Tower at 8:46, and Flight 175 hit the South Tower at 9:03 a.m., which caused the FAA to ground all planes at 9:06 a.m. So this plane quite literally was getting ready to take off. There was congestion on the tarmac, and it was waiting for 45 minutes. In that time period, both the North and the South Tower were struck, which caused the FAA to ground all aircraft. It was reported that there were 4 Middle Eastern men in first class that drew attention due to their strange behavior, the men seeming nervous and anxious during the boarding process. After the plane was deplaned, the men disappeared and were not seen again. The group of men was described as all Middle Eastern looking and all in first class, which fits the typical hijacker team description when you look at the 4 actual hijacker teams that left the airports that morning. The airliner staff also reported that the men were very agitated when the plane was delayed and they were asked to deplane, which if they were actual hijackers, obviously their plan would be completely foiled, which it would make sense that they would be angry at that. There was also a cleaning crew that supposedly found box cutters and flight maps in the seatback pockets, although it was never proven that they belonged to the same passengers. In 2023, Tom Murphy, who is a former United Airlines pilot and a current union representative, said that Flight 23 was absolutely supposed to be the fifth plane. And with the understanding of the box cutters and the 4 Middle Eastern men acting very weirdly and then becoming extremely irate upon realizing the plane will be returning to the gate and not taking off, it's very understandable. In captured documents, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who was the original mastermind of September 11th and the planes operation, had suggested originally involving 10 planes, not just 4. Now, that doesn't mean that there was going to be a fifth plane, but it does seem like there was some potential flexibility and they weren't dead set on having 4 airliners in specific. It's also outlined within the September 11th Commission report that bin Laden himself originally envisioned 10 planes crashing into different landmarks: the World Trade Center, the Capitol, the White House, also maybe including the Sears Tower or nuclear plants. TMZ recently did a documentary on it that had some pretty intriguing findings, including, in accordance to 3 flight attendants who were on Flight 23, they described up to 6 suspects within first class acting suspiciously. One of the passengers was sweating heavily. Another person within the group reportedly said, quote, "We do not want to eat, we just want to go." It was reported after everyone had gotten off of the plane, there were 2 people in uniform that were rushing through the cabin. Authorities inspected this and found an open hatch to the cargo hold, suggesting that there was potential tampering of evidence. According to the official records, the FBI has never confirmed that this plane was a part of the hijacking and nobody on the plane were identified as suspects or prosecuted. There was a lot of haziness regarding the box cutters. As the TMZ documentary reported, they were misplaced as evidence and haven't been discussed by the FBI, considering there was an investigation done into all the passengers, and with no link to Al-Qaeda, many people dismissed the flight as being a part of the 9/11 plot. However, if the facts as we have them are correct, a group of Middle Eastern men sweating nervously and getting very irate, almost overly irate, that the plane wouldn't take off, along with the box cutters, that seems like some pretty sound evidence. In researching this, I did also find that there was possibly a child involved with the people that were the alleged hijackers, which is abnormally different from the original plane's operation, as none of the other groups had children. Whether or not that's actually true is unknown. I've just heard it from several different places. As the flight attendants from Flight 23 were being interviewed, one of the attendants reportedly said that the FBI told her, quote, "We believe your plane was intended to be a part of the attack. However, this was not included in the 9/11 Commission report, possibly due to lack of evidence." The physical position of Flight 23 was eyebrow-raising, to say the least, as the aircraft was positioned right next to another United 767. It was part of the same general fleet as Flights 175 and 93. During a CIA phone interrogation, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed admitted that he had backups at the ready. He refused to identify them, but he said, quote, "They were not activated because Allah made the four succeed," possibly hinting at other hijacker units within the airports in which the initial planes were hijacked. There was also a false alarm involving a plane on September 11th. It was Delta Airlines Flight 1989. The plane took off minutes after Flight 11 and 175, and it was also a Boeing 767. The plane matched the typical profile of a potentially hijacked jet going across country. It is said that there was also weird transponder activity which caused fighter jets to be scrambled as the plane was above Cleveland, where it emergency landed.